It was almost summer. All the engines were looking forward to the extra passenger work they would be doing, carrying holidaymakers to and from the sights of Sodor. Everyone loved this time of year, except Diesel. Ha! He snorted. Those steamers all look much too cheerful during summer. They get to take passengers, leaving me to shunt trucks. That's 'cause you're always causing trouble, giggled the trucks. And any tricks you do play always blow up in your face anyway. We'll see about that. Later, Diesel was on his way to his next job when he met Thomas at a junction. And what are you looking so cheery about? He sniffed. I'm taking some new equipment to the beach station on the Little Western, Thomas said happily. Doug and Oliver are too busy to do it themselves, so I've been asked to deliver the deck chairs and windbreakers for them. Diesel growled and looked thoughtful. A devious plan was forming in his mind. Oh, really? He said flatly. It'd be a shame if your day was to be ruined by the curse of the cliffs. Thomas's face fell. The curse of the cliffs? Yes, indeed. Before those great westerners ran that branch, another engine used it for his own. Then one foggy day, he had a dreadful accident. He was never heard from again. To this day, whenever an engine crosses the headland on the first day of the holiday season, a terrible fog comes down over the cliffs. Then that engine loses its way and is lost forever. Thomas wasn't so happy now. I don't believe you, he stammered. Why, I've never heard of this curse. That's because no one talks about it, in case the same should happen to them, said Diesel mysteriously, and he oiled away, feeling very pleased with himself. Poor Thomas was worried. He wasn't sure whether he should go to the beach now. Don't believe him, cajoled his driver. Diesel's told lies before. What's to say this is any different? I hope you're right, sighed Thomas. Although he began to wonder, was the curse true? Doug and Oliver certainly hadn't said anything about it. Soon, Thomas arrived at the supply yard. He collected his trucks and then set off to the beach. On the way, he came across Harold the helicopter at the airfield. Ah, Thomas. Good thing I caught you, he whirred. Bad news, I'm afraid. Thick fog heading over the headland. Take care, dear chap. Then he buzzed away, back on patrol. Thomas's bravery had sunk into his wheel tires. The curse must be true, he told himself. I'll get lost and never be seen again. Don't be so daft, called his fireman. It's just fog, though we will have to take care. Thomas sighed as he fearfully set off again. On the way, he came across a very worried and unhappy Ben outside a tunnel. What are you doing here on your own? Asked Thomas. And why do you look so upset? Bill and I were delivering trucks to the harbour, Ben told him anxiously. But I met Diesel at the quarry. He told me there was a monster in this tunnel. Bill's already gone ahead, but I'm too scared. And I don't know if the monster's got him. Thomas was about to say, there's no such thing as monsters, when they both heard a strange booming sound from within the darkness. It made Thomas feel nervous, but he didn't want to look scared in front of a smaller engine. Tell you what, he said, why don't I go in first, and if it's safe, I'll whistle so you can follow me. Sounds like a plan, said Ben's driver. We've tried everything else to get Ben to move. So, very slowly, Thomas advanced into the tunnel. It was dark and hazy. The strange booming noises echoed off the walls. Must be brave, he whispered as he pressed boldly onward. The noises grew louder, and as the smoke grew thicker, Thomas saw two eyes peering at him in the distance. Oh, there is a monster!
He stood terrified at the spot, refusing to move. He couldn't go forward nor back. His driver saw he was worried and had an idea. Very faintly, he began singing a song. Bo, bo, cho cho, don't be afraid of the dark. Then the fireman joined in. It's easily explained to see why things go bump in the night. Thomas heard them singing. He didn't know why or how, but he began quietly singing along with them, and suddenly he found enough courage to roll forwards towards the staring eyes. As the smoke cleared, he was surprised to discover that the eyes were actually a pair of fog lamps, and a strange booming voice was the generator powering the lights. Sorry about the delay, said a workman. We're busy renovating this tunnel mouth. Diesel delivered our supplies earlier, and we asked him to warn the other engines that we were working here. Thank goodness, gasped Thomas. He felt very relieved that there was no monster after all. He stopped outside the tunnel where the men were having their tea break, and blew his whistle loudly to inform Ben. Shortly, Ben pulled up, looking very happy. Thank you, Thomas, Ben smiled. I shouldn't have listened to Diesel at all. You were very brave and helped me. And then he hurried off to join his twin. Thomas felt glad to have been helpful, but then he remembered his own work in the Curse of the Cliffs. Suddenly, he didn't feel so brave. Maybe the fog's lifted, he thought as he set off again. But he was very wrong. The fog still hung over the headland, as thick as wool, and Thomas couldn't see a thing. I can't go on, he wailed. I'll end up having the same fate as that other engine. His driver decided to help out again. Think about it, Thomas. If Diesel was wrong about the monster in the tunnel, don't you think he'll be wrong about the Curse of the Cliffs? Thomas thought carefully. Perhaps, he said slowly, but the mist is so thick. Just remember that song we were singing earlier, added the fireman. Maybe that'll help. Bravely, Thomas started again, humming that comforting tune as he went. Quietly at first, until he began singing it out loud as he chuffed slowly along the cliffs. And just like that, the mists cleared and the sun came out. I did it! I did it! sang Thomas as he steamed on his way. He was so relieved that he finished his journey with no more worrying at all, and was soon pulling into the seaside station. But Thomas had arrived a wiser engine. That Diesel was telling another of his whoppers, he chuckled. That's the last time I'll ever listen to him. Then to his driver and fireman, he added, Thanks for helping me out. I wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for you. That's alright, said the fireman. We do more than just drive you know. By the way, where did you learn that song? Oh, I don't know, shrugged the driver. Heard it from somewhere, I think. That afternoon, as Thomas was shunting at the harbour, he came across Diesel again. Oh, you're still here then? Sniggered Diesel slyly. Yes, I am, said Thomas boldly. I managed to break the curse of the cliffs and got around them safely. I met the monster in the tunnel as well. He had a message for you. He did? Diesel looked surprised. What's that then? Thomas lowered his voice as quietly as he could. Well, it's... Boo! Diesel gave such a jolt, he almost jumped off the rails. I know, Thomas chuckled. Ben and I were surprised too.